What up? It's Jimmy from odds.com. We just broke down every single game on the NFL card starring Rob Bebenek, special guest, the whale capper. If you want to watch the whole video, it is exclusively on odds.com. Just hit the link on the bottom of the screen. It will take you right there. We move on to the Titans-Ravens. It's going to be a fun breakdown. 64 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 7 miles per hour. Titans 6-3, 2-1 on the road. Ravens 6-3, 2-2 at home. Ravens open up as 6.5-point favorites. It's gone down to 6 at a few books. And this is Bet365 licensed openers, licensed in American openers. Tennessee, the total opens up at 47. It's shot up to 49. Titans are on extended rest and preparations after their disappointing 34-17 loss at home to the Colts on Thursday night. It was the Titans' third loss in 4 games. Colts outgained them 430-294. Tannehill was just 15-27 for 147 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Corey Davis caught 5 passes for 67 yards a day after the death of his older brother Titus from a rare form of kidney cancer. Derrick Henry rushed 19 times for 103 yards. And also love to the Davis family. I know from reading about them that Titus was this leader that Corey looked up to, and unimaginable how tough that would be for that family. And so love to the Davis family. The Titans went with a third different punter in 3 games. They promoted Trevor Daniel after signing him to the practice squad last week of FedEx. He was wearing his FedEx outfit when they signed him. And that's a great story until his first punt goes 17 yards and you lose the game. Titans gave Daniel no help on his second punt. It was blocked, but he was shaking like a – oh, man. All right. Gostkowski then missed a 44-yard field goal. I mean, I don't mean to be harsh, but Trevor Daniel and Gostkowski should not be welcomed back in the facility. Gostkowski's missed, 10 field goals this year? 10 kicks?
Well, yeah, he's missed some extra points as well. He's been atrocious.
At least Gostkowski's a professional. You get some guy popping out of a FedEx truck. What do you think? He's going to start punting and then 65? Come on. I mean, let's not.
I can boot a ball pretty good. And I can tackle better than I think a lot of the punter. I think I should get a shot at punting.
Well, it's up for grabs right now in Tennessee. Do you have the helmet with the bar? That's a must.
Oh, I'm playing single bar.
Laryl Murchison, the defensive lineman, hurt his back, listed as questionable. Tight end McCole Pruitt, wide receiver Adam Humphries, cornerback Adoree Jackson, all listed as questionable. It's not the Titans that I find so interesting about this game. It's the Ravens. 10-game road winning streak snapped, 23-17 loss at New England, driving rain, high winds. Lamar Jackson, 24-34, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Mark Ingram comes back from injury. He looks terrible. 5 rushes, 5 yards. He also came in that wildcat, and I don't know what happened to, Crisco oil all over his hands. I don't know what he's been doing. Gus led the ground attack, running 11 times for 55 yards. Willie Snead led the receivers, 5 catches for 64 yards and 2 TDs. But the Ravens defense is dealing with injuries, and this is what makes it so interesting. The Patriots offensive line completely dominated them. But they didn't at first. We knew that Calais Campbell was out, and I didn't realize what a hole it made until Brandon Williams left. And now, all of a sudden, this vaunted Ravens defense, this very scary Ravens defense, looked terrible.
Well, those guys are 2 huge men. They're space eaters. Like, that is a really difficult tandem to lose.
Well, they lost them, and it looks bad, man. Ravens entered the game ranked 8th in the NFL, allowing 102 yards per game on the ground. And watching that game, there's games where you're losing your bet, and you're like, man, I have a chance here. I knew I had no chance.
Yeah. It was painful to watch, that's for sure.
They gave up 173 yards rushing to the Patriots, 121 to Damian Harris. LJ Fort is out too, so Calais Campbell out, LJ Fort out, Jimmy Smith sat out with the ankle injury. They're all listed as questionable. Brandon Williams, an ankle injury. It's not that bad, but he could miss this week's game. They lost Nick Boyle, who is his status is unclear this week, but he's such a great blocker. I mean, he sets so much up for him, their tight end. How do we not back the Titans here? How do we not hammer the Derrick Henry prop as soon as it comes out?
I mean, yeah, you read my mind, man. I don't know how, with those key players out in the interior of that line, how do they slow down Derrick Henry? And the other thing too is, I feel like this is worth noting, but last year's playoffs was that not the Titans giving the blueprint to the NFL on how you slow down Lamar Jackson? And we've seen him get brought back down to earth this year. We've seen them force him to throw the ball more, which you knew coming out of college that was his weak point. Yes, he's done better than people thought as far as the passing game goes, but he's still not an overly accurate passer. And when the run game isn't working for him, then yeah, that's problematic. So given the fact that there's so many points here, and without Calais Campbell, with that defensive line just really being banged up, how does Henry not take massive advantage of this?
Well, also cash action like in the under. We just saw this Ravens running game look inept in conditions when they had to step up. Inept is harsh, but how is this over not in play?
I also can't understand, before we jump on this over, I can't understand why Dobbins got so few touches. It really seemed like he was starting to blossom, and he was looking at breakout time, and he barely touched the ball in that game. Why is Gus Edwards your leading rusher when you have J.K. Dobbins? And why are you running a wildcat formation when Lamar Jackson's your quarterback? It was just a lot of questionable decisions in that game.
Yeah. I'm going to have to make moves here. But Kev, you told me that there would be points scored. You know, a lot of guys on the team total over with Kent State. I did make a mistake, obviously, taking the under, but I'm on Akron. Akron was the move on our show yesterday, and it went from 24 to 27. I showed no fear. The mistake was taking the under, and I was told not to by a few different people, and I probably should have listened. So, Bebsie, Titans over Derrick Henry prop. Am I simplifying this too much?
Well, I mean, it depends what that Derrick Henry prop comes out as, but I mean, he's 1-2 for the rushing lead. He was passed by Dalvin Cook last week or the week before, and I do believe that that's on his mind. I really think they go back to the well a little bit and just feed Henry in this game. That's their clearest path to victory.
And so, well, cash action on the under, he's a spectacular capper, and it makes me nervous. But the reason why I think that the over's got to be in play is because the Ravens aren't able to move the ball on the ground. The Titans are going to be able to run it down their throat. So Lamar's going to have to produce some big plays because Ingram looked bad. Gus Edwards isn't running for much. So we're going to have to see Hollywood Brown make a big – but we're going to have to see something. Is that fair?
Yeah, well, I would imagine. Unfortunately, we haven't seen Lamar Jackson be able to pick apart any defense. I don't know. Are we expecting Corey Davis to play, with that emotional chip on his shoulder? I mean, I expect A.J. Brown to be great all the time. I was banging the table for the Niners to draft A.J. Brown. I'm happy with Deebo Samuel. He's great, but A.J. Brown is, I think, phenomenal. So I just believe that Tennessee can move this ball.
Okay. Well, we're dealing with the Ravens as a big favorite here.
Well, and that's just it. Is I don't know if I'd be taking them straight up, but it's a lot of points to give the Ravens here, especially given their injuries. And yeah, the Tennessee rushing attack has not been the same since Taylor Lewan, and that can't be understated. He's been pivotal for this line, but yeah,
I'm going to move on the Titans and the over, and obviously the over will only hit. It's predicated on the idea that Lamar Jackson could step up. So I hope that happens, and I'm trying hard not to focus on our Maction here, but C-Mac, Connor Mack, who's in our chat right now, he gave out Buffalo as the best bet. I followed him on it. I'm also on Akron. Unfortunately, I took the under. Okay, let's move on to the 405 spots. We're about 20 minutes away from Whale Capper joining us. We talked Dolphins, Broncos.
Are you not betting that?
Yes, I'm going to be on the Titans, and I'm going to be on the over, and I'm going to take the Derrick Henry prop once it comes out.
I think I'm going to hop on the Titans too, because I just see this being bet down through the week.
And the only nervousness I have about it is that it hasn't been bet down yet.
It's been bet down a half point already, it looks like.
Yeah. 6.5. You're getting 6.5. And the best line I can give you is -109 at Bet America.
Okay.
Bebsie plus 6.5 -109. Bet America. Now, if we get to game time and it turns out that Brandon Williams is good to go, I'll be a little more nervous. But even so, even with Brandon Williams, when he was good to go, Calais Campbell's – I messaged you, Bebsie. I was like, look at the hole that Calais Campbell left. I didn't think it would be so big.